I'm Ryan Kruesi, this is Kruesi Originals, and it's another episode of Biker Build Off. We are back on YouTube. It's us versus Blockhead Moto. This is the bike that we're building. We're not very far along if you're just now chiming in, but we are going to build some power today. This 117 water-cooled motor, it made 100 horsepower and 22 foot-pounds of torque with stock exhaust, stock intake, and just a Thunder Max with a little bit of tune work on it. That was pretty impressive. So now we're going to put in an Andrews. What cam is that, Trent? I can't see that far.
Andrews 485.
Andrews 485 cam. I'm excited because this is kind of a new motor setup, new motor journey, and Andrews was the OG cam guys in the cam game forever, really. If you had an Evo, you had an EV27 cam from Andrews in it. That was the setup, plain and simple. So this should be a very good cam. Andrews also makes just about everybody's cams out there, so if you're running whatever you're running, you're probably running an Andrews. Chances are pretty good. My lovely assistant is going to start with taking off the air filter cover. And I will tell you about the fancy goods that we have. That's carbon fiber, I just noticed.
Ta-da.
Wow. Let's take some looks at this, though, honestly, before I show you the fancy parts, because I've not seen the inside of this, and this is pretty interesting. It's actually an air box. Air breathes in through here, goes through this filter into this air box, which then the throttle body sucks the air from. This is pretty nice. This is actually a really quality setup. I bet putting an intake on this is going to make it breathe and make a whole lot more power, though, because this looks like a little bit a choked up setup. It's a much higher quality than the old bullshit that used to stick over in like 3 different pieces you had to sandwich together. That was always a good time. I don't know how it comes off, though. Look at this. I think she just slides out. It's pretty fancy. Over here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of that dude, and we're going to put on, wow, look at this guy. This is S&S's intake manifold. I'm pretty sure they're the only ones in the market that have one at this point right now as we're filming, because this angle is at a weird angle on the throttle body now. It doesn't sit straight. It's kind of a little bit of a cock-eyed, eye-cocked sort of angle there. We're gonna put that on. We have a stealth exhaust, big cam. It's gonna be nasty. I have guesses on horsepower. Let's throw down some guesses below. My guess, I'm gonna say low 120s horsepower and mid 130s foot-pounds. That's my guess. What about you, Trent?
I'll go 130 horse. I'll go like closer to 140 torque.
Yeah?
Foot-pound, yeah.
God damn.
Just to go up a little bit, you know. I have that much faith in Andrews cams.
All right, well, you heard it here. If it makes that kind of power for just putting a cam, pipe, and intake, Jesus, to make that kind of power out of a twin cam, you got to turbocharge that shit. This, you just got to put a cam in. We're doing a little work with S&S on this guy. Trying it out. It is, dude, it's like, it almost seems 3D printed. Favorite filter cover ever. OG teardrop. My first Dyno had an S&S carburetor. Not very good for wheelies, but they are real good for riding when you got there.
I'm not too sure how this guy pops off of here, and I don't want to just like, there we go. Okay, see, that's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to just go in there and start digging around. But
straight up just pops in and
that's
out.
crazy.
That's real nice.
It was on there pretty snug.
You don't even got to undo them bolts in the front.
No.
You just got to pop this off, pull this thing out, shove a new one in.
It's the first time I've worked on one of these.
I bet if not now, soon K&N will have a replacement filter for this, and that would probably be a pretty solid intake. Oh, it's straight open too to that filter. That's nice. Hot damn. I can start taking the cam cover apart while he's walked away. I'll gather tools for that. This is has a cam position sensor on it, and they haven't done that since 2000 on the twin cams. I think 2000 was the last year, maybe 2001. Andrews is also one of the first companies to come out with a cam that works with that, or at least come across the ordeal of making a cam work with that. So it is going to be probably the first time you're going to see somebody do this on YouTube with one of these at least. Oh man, Tommy's here with the crystal. Let me get a little bit of that, brother. Had a couple toots on the way here, huh?
You look like a crystal dealer in the Midwest right now, dude.
Oh yeah,
like
Midwest.
Yeah, yeah. You
Tommy shows up with a
you
nice
rain havoc
crystal.
on college campuses, dude.
Crystal 4.
Yeah.
Crystal 4, the good stuff.
I was just on one. Yeah, that's a university drug dealer right there.
Yeah.
Fresh fender spacers right out of the Sean and
Look at that.
Look at these. These are nice. These are just some mock-ups we had lasered so we can make sure all my measurements were proper, but this is going to be the fender lift for a 21-inch 21-inch wheel on a 24 and up bagger. The fork legs are different, the fender spread's different, the fender mounts are different, everything's different. So, first set right here, first ones. I'm gonna try them on the bike. I get the wheel back from Jay and I'll just mock it back up. The wheel's supposed to be shipping out to Chrome on the 1st. Hopefully back in time for Sturgis. These are nice. I just discovered another job for Trent once I get this intake off. Oh, they're not head breathers anymore. It's not gonna puke anymore.
Yeah.
Oh!
They fixed the issue.
So we just discovered the greatest thing ever. They no longer breathe back through the intake, so they're not gonna piss oil out of the intake anymore. When you rode wheelies on the early M8s, you couldn't even do 10 feet and the intake would be spraying oil out like a garden hose. These are the intake bolts right here that bolt to the head. Solid, plugged off. I think it's a case breather of some sorts now, and it breathes back through.
And it vents all the way back up, right back in the intake, but there is a case breather.
They copied the Trask one a little bit. It breathes, which we could just put a filter on that.
Yeah.
A catch can. Ooh, a catch can would be sick. So it comes off of this guy now, and then goes up over the top, which we're gonna replace this with a Trask one and do it up proper. This is nice. This is very, very nice. This is the way it should be. This is the way we modify M8s to breathe when we build them. Trask has this same setup right here, so any one of your M8s, you get the Trask version of this, and it is very, very good. Kills this problem, but it's nice that they block the heads completely, which that one's gonna completely fill full of oil now though, but because the return's on the wrong side for wheelies, but
that's just for wheelies.
everything else, great, phenomenal. Grip it and twist it. That's how you get your hose off. Grip them and twist them. Look at that.
That thing was really on there.
It sits in all cockeyed now.
Oh yeah. Would you look at that?
It looks a lot cleaner. Yeah, check out the throttle body.
It sits up
So
against
before
the...
they sat like the throttle, the drive, this was straight up and down. And now it's got a rotation on it and a little bit of angle, but it fits in there so much cleaner. Look how easy it's gonna be to set the push rods.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
It hugs the motor a lot more. It doesn't stick
Yeah.
out as much. I wonder if they got that from their racing.
I don't know if somebody else is running things or doing some. I don't know what's going on at Harley Davidson, but 2024, I feel like everything that's ever been bitched about on these bikes has been remedied.
They listen.
Like for the first time, I feel like they really went, let's see what the people are saying. And then they went, they're right, let's do these things. And they did, because this shit is dialed. This bike, that alone right there as a mechanic, look at how much, I've never had that much room on anything I've ever worked on before to adjust push rods. And adjusting push rods is what we're gonna be doing today. Oh man, let's get to popping some shit apart. I'm gonna grab some tools, I'll be back. Oh, I need the little bungee cords too up my toolbox. Holy shit, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, you know what that other job I had for you was?
Print out a service manual for it.
F***ing A. Or you can print out the shit that we're working on, cam job shit. Yo, this is just a cover. We could make these. Watch out for super gangster ass hot boy covers coming out. All right, put that right there. Probably not gonna put that back on when we get done with this job. So I could unplug the sensor, but I'm gonna pull these bolts out, and I'm thinking this is a lot like a crank position sensor that's just on a magnet, and it's just reading time off of something that's bolted to the cam. So I'm gonna bolt everything, give it a little feel. If it feels like it's gonna come apart, then it's gonna come apart. If not, then we'll pull that sensor out completely, but I don't think I need to. Just as I expected. Whoa, look at that goofy looking shit. That is not what I expected. Well, I know where my beer cans have been going. That is wild. So it's just sandwiched between the cam bolts. You could probably run any cam you wanted to. I'll be dipped in shit. I know I sure as hell ain't got no cam cover gaskets like this. We'll keep that one nice just in case. Well, there you go. There's your first peek at a cam position sensor on an M8 bagger, or just an M8 period. I think they all have them now. But that kind of blows my mind. Very, very simple. I mean, it's ingenious. That's super lightweight. It's not going to put any rotating mass on the crank, not anything significant. It's got to be cheap to produce, so it's not going to raise the price. That sensor is probably not cheap to produce. It's pretty neat. I'm going to pull it apart. I got a good guess, though, that that's just regular M8 cam with this shit bolted on the end of it. So I think Andrews was just the first one to figure out that you just got to put it in. I could be wrong though, most likely. Man, this is sick. I think you'd have to, this should be timed, but there's no notches or marks or anything like that to time it with, so then that would just make it random. Maybe it doesn't need to be timed. Maybe it's just smart enough to do that itself. I got a service manual coming. That will teach me everything that I need to know. One thing I do need to know is where the hell is my rag? That's a new one to me. It's supposed to be more accurate if you have a cam position sensor and a crank sensor. You can get more accurate readings that way. So I think these are a little higher, much higher performing motors than twin cams. So that stuff's got to be a little more intense. So normally when I would do any M8, do a cam job in it, I would not do it this way. I would normally pull the rockers off, pull everything apart, put a stud conversion in the top because this is a weak point up here where the rockers are bolted in. And then I would pull these out. We're probably going to put some S&S retainers and get rid of the plastic ones, but this motor is only going to be in here probably long enough to run dynos and see what kind of power we can make and for me to do some burnouts with it. And then we have something else going in here, something new. And it's already here. It's just a big secret and it's going to be going in soon. So that being said, I'm going to do this the old school, nice and fast way. Let's get them dudes right on out your way. We don't need any of that shit. Damn it, I got black everything but the tappet blocks. Ooh, I wonder what color that other thing is that's going in here. We're only going to use one part. I got collars, we need springs, a couple parts out of the push rod, so don't ever throw the tubes away. Always throw the pieces that you cut up away. But keep the tubes, we're going to need pieces out of that in a little bit. Trent can take you a nice, real beautiful walkthrough on how to set up push rod tubes.
Real beautiful walkthrough.
Just real beautiful, just a real big old friendly good time with everybody over here working on push rods. And
It's been a while since we've heard of Bubbles.
well, he ain't been around in a while. Ain't seen the chow in forever. We need to make some new trailer park boys. I know Leahy's gone, but bring him back, everybody. Start complaining. Start writing to your congressman. We need some more trailer park boys. Well, fucking had some more trailer park boys, wouldn't have all these problems in the world.
Daily. First things first, get
I don't
rid
even
of all
remember
the
what Bubbles
old
sounds like.
shit.
It's been so long.
That seems pretty close.
No, I'm
No,
involved.
June.
Trent's doing his part now. I'm just gonna go over here and whistle while I work.
Oh, dang, dude, look at shit. You didn't see that? These new ones, the center push rod is in these. Pretty freaking awesome.
Oh, this is not, but
Nah.
that is nice.
Yeah, that's real nice.
Self-contained. Does it still have a spring and a washer?
Yeah. Don't throw away the push rod tubes because you need stuff out of them. You can get rid of the collar and the bottom tube. You just need the spring and this inner slidey tube that goes inside the bottom tube, and I'll show you what it does in a second. But you got to pull all these out to put in the aftermarket push rod. Factory push rod tube, you need to pull the lower tube off of this guy. Yeah, off, sounds right. Then you pull the collar out, save this guy. This is what goes up into the head and seals the top part of the push rod. And get the spring out of the collar. You need to reuse this spring as well. Putting them back together, grab your bottom push rod tube, grab the collar. It goes spring, then washer. That washer will help seal the O-ring against this little flare right here. Then you go to this guy, grab the proper O-ring, put the collar, spring, and washer in there, and then go with the O-ring. So you see how that works? So the washer pushes up against the O-ring, the spring applies pressure, and seals that. That's together. Now, do that with the rest of them. It's also nice to have the parts laid out, so when you know, as stuff starts to go away, you've already done that part, just help keep track of everything. Or if you missed one, because I actually just missed one right now, so I had to go back. These are ready for whenever Ryan's ready to put those back in.
2018, first time I ever did a cam job in an M8. It was a brand new, bought from the dealership, rode like 5 miles to my shop from the dealership. Tearing it apart just like this, breaking these guys loose. These are very fragile and very small. It went stoop, and the head snapped right off of it. And I was stuck, which is common, because I know many people that's happened to. Gotta be gingerly with these dudes. They Loctite the shit out of them from factory. I'm sweating right now taking this one out. It would be nice to heat them up, but I'm gonna reuse these, so I don't wanna warp these little cheap keepers right here. So these dudes are not made to take a torch. This does need some heat because it's got some Loctite in it. If you're gonna put some different keepers like S&S ones or something nice on there, it's gonna get this son of a bitch hot. To hell with these. But I gotta pull the lifters because my old tools don't work. I've got an Evo magnet U-bend horseshoe thing. She ain't got the length. That bad boy's definitely got some Loctite on it. They really Loctite the stuff on the Harley these days. I commend them for that because they didn't used to Loctite stuff much and it would vibrate loose like crazy. And now they got some Loctite on it. It's solid. I don't think nothing's coming apart on this. I loosened up all 4 bolts on the oil pump just to make it easier to get apart. When I go to put it back together, I'm not going to leave it together. I'm going to put it back apart and realign it and do, you know, all that stuff. But she's full of oil, so we let her drain for a minute. There's a big O-ring on the back that seals it into the case, which we'll deal with that separately. Oh my God, I just thought of something. So awesome. What? I don't know if I've ever done a cam job where I was just reusing the stock cam plate and all that shit. Well, watch this. I'm just gonna leave the oil pump exactly where it's at and put the cam in this and just, what?
Yeah.
Here, hand me the other cam, please.
Want assembly lube on it?
Aye. Like I said, this isn't really the best way to do a cam job. But man, this is the way to get one done. And it should be fine. We will do an alignment on the oil pump. And we'll do an alignment on the cam gears. Feeler gauges. There you are, you dirty bitch. Just off the edge of the teeth, I would imagine then.
Place a straight edge across sprocket faces, alignment offset
I need
max,
to bolt in the
0.23.
I need to bolt in the goddamn oil pump and shit first though. Forgot about that. I'm way ahead of myself right now. So, oil pump time. Is there a pattern of the bolt torque numbers on here, on that?
For the oil pump?
Yeah. So
Again.
I snug up the oil pump first, then we
Yeah,
torque the cam plate, then
yeah,
we do
you
the oil
snug-
pump again.
Yeah, snug up the oil pump with this. We rotate the motor 360. Then you do the other cam plate, and then you go back to the oil pump for the 90 to 120.
All right, easy money.
Feels like one, huh?
Yeah, give her one more.
Is there a timing mark on the crank?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Beautiful.
Goes 1, 5, yeah, right there. 6, yep. 7 all the way at the top. 8 bottom right, and then 10.
It's good. Now what do I torque the oil pump now? It's
Yeah,
done?
120, yeah.
That's
1,
it, huh?
2, 3, 4.
So I'm gonna measure the gear alignment so the chain doesn't wear prematurely. Used to be a minimum of 10 thousandths, now it's a minimum of 9 thousandths. I went down to 1 thousandths of minimums. I come off these flat surfaces, I'm gonna check the front of the dude. If it's flat, there'll be no gap here and no gap here. If there's a gap up here, this is spaced out too far. If there's a gap down here, it's in too far. This is too small of a spacer, too big of a spacer, but she's pretty dialed right now. I'm gonna check it from both sides just to be safe. She might be fitting 9 right there. What could I go bigger with? Didn't want to do this. I was hoping. Whoa, cocksucker's tight. This is your cam spacer. We're just a little bit on the thin side. I got a little bit of a gap down at the bottom. If there's a gap at the top, the spacer is too big and it's pushing it out, so it's making a gap. It's sitting like this. If it's too small, it's sitting like this. There's a gap at the bottom. This guy, they always have the measurements on him. It's a 110. I'm only like a couple thou out, so I'm gonna hopefully have a 112 that I'm gonna replace this with. This is my box of cam shims. I only got 10 thou bigger. They go up by 10s. Well, all we can do is try.
Yeah.
I would like to know from all you guys out there with M8s, we've never not changed these out. These are the weak points the M8 supposedly has, but we've never seen it actually fail because we've never given it a chance. But my question is it real or is it just hype to sell parts? Have any of you guys had one of these fail right here, one of these plastic retainers that kind of keeps the
I believe these
lifter in
fail.
place? Yeah, they look like they would fail.
Remember that one
Man,
that
I
we
can't
tore
see
into was
shit.
cracked? Like a ride from
Well,
the dealership to here was cracked?
Yeah, the bolt broke in it and shit.
Yeah.
And then the studs, the bolts that hold the rockers in on top. Everybody says you got to stud convert those, which we always do. We will not do a cam job here for someone without doing a stud conversion, without converting these to either tappet rights or S&S. We will not do a cam job unless you do the whole meal deal. We won't do this kind of cam job on an M8. But my question is, we don't give that shit a chance. If we know there's weak points, we just don't mess with that. Like if you're doing it here, it's going to be done to its best that it can be. But how many people have just thrown cams in like this and not had any problems up here? Or are you having problems with this and these things? Anybody comment down below and let us know, like, is it real or is it hype? Could we just be doing it this way the whole time? Because this is easy. This is probably the easiest, way easier than an M8 or
I
a
guarantee
twin
most
cam.
shops are just pumping them out like this.
This is easier than a twin cam.
Oh,
you literally just
100%,
grab
yeah.
the cam and put it back in there and put the cam
Yeah.
plate back on.
The oil pump doesn't come out with it at all.
No.
You just leave it in there. That's, yeah.
That was super easy. We need to know. This is the first time I've done one this way. I've always hated doing cam jobs in these because it takes me like a whole entire day because you got to pull the whole top end apart. And dude,
What?
look on top of the valve covers. There's no oil lines.
Where'd they go? Did they go internal the case?
Oh my God.
Man, they fixed a lot of shit.
They go down this way. Oh my God, dude. The worst part of the M8, absolute worst part, was the oil lines across the top. That turned anything into an extra 6 hours. They're gone. I don't know where they went
Where they be?
or what they're doing now, but there is no oil lines across the top.
There's
Dude,
just that breather line.
because they're not running an oil cooler, they're running a radiator.
Ah.
Oh my God, that's so much better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Harley Davidson. I absolutely hated that. Now, if you don't want to do a stud conversion, all you have to do is lift the gas tank and pop the top rocker boxes off. It'd probably take you 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Didn't they revise the studs up top, the rocker studs?
I don't know. I don't think it has an oil cooler at all anymore. It's just a radiator. I'm cool with that. This thing runs so cool. My leg never even got warm in Florida when we were on the rental bikes. Or when we rode up north, it was nothing.
You're in, brother.
She's good to go. She's less than 9, so she should be able to take every bit of it right now. I don't have the right locking tool for this gear setup, but just put a big screwdriver between the teeth. She locks up real quick. Works really good. Beautiful. Fork and cam chest is done. That was easy. There is some stuff that Harley makes that is just far superior to the aftermarket world out there, like their push rods. Look at how beefy this thing is. This is a beautiful piece of equipment. And it's only 2.5 turns for full adjustment instead of cranking them out 4 or however much you got. But one thing they really noted, see that dot right there? I usually paint one flat silver or put a prick punch in it so I can count and not lose place, but it comes with it. Ready to go. 2.5 turns, done. This is a nice product. These are the push rods that I'm going to be using from here on out. Ryan approved. I give them 4 wrenches, 2 snaps, and a thumbs up where it shouldn't be. These are the upper push rod O-rings. They're the big fat ones. They are usually either yellow or brown. Put a little dielectric grease on them. Makes everything ease of entrance. That way you don't blow one. These are the bottom dudes. Good amount of lube kind of makes them stay in their place too, so they ain't falling all over the place. And when you got to put the push rod tube in, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. Just never run a dry seal. Exhaust push rod is always longer than the intake, but most aftermarket push rods just come one length and you just have to adjust one out even farther, which the more you have this cranked out, the more it's going to have flex in it. Harley Davidson comes with exhaust and intake. See the difference? So you're not going to have a whole bunch of threaded material sticking out down here, making a bunch of deflection. All right, this guy's done. First one, you set them to 0 lash. I've got this piston on top dead center. So she's on top dead center. Then I'm going to set this to 0 lash. You just thread it out till it's touching here and it's touching here and it doesn't have any movement up and down, but it's not compressing, it's just slightly seated. And then you just bring your little dot to here, spin it around 2.5 turns, lock your nut down. Do not Loctite this, just tighten it. And now I'm gonna do the back guy. Do front and back, same cylinder. I know you probably can't see back there, it's dark, but I got this dude set to where she's got up and down movement. She's in both cups nice. I'm just gonna spin her around until I see the dot. There's that fancy dot. Makes life so easy. 5/16 wrench on the bottom, half up top, start turning. Sometimes if you have a lifter that's bled off at all since you've had it out of the bike, it'll feel soft and you might be squishing down and not knowing that you're squishing down. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't putting any compression on the lift there. Now I'm gonna bring her back around to my dot. Feels more realistic to me now. All right, lock this dude down and you're done with this side. Now go outside, smoke a couple cigarettes, hang out. This can take up to 15 minutes to bleed down. You don't do this until you can spin these freely. And then you're gonna rotate the motor a bunch of times, check everything over, and then do the front, bring this to top dead center. But these have a bunch of hydraulic pressure on them, so they're gonna take a while to bleed down. You gotta bleed the hydraulic pressure off to make sure that you're spinning freely. And if they never come down and don't spin freely, you've done something wrong. Good time for a nice meeting with your friends. So then you just repeat this on the other side. We're gonna do that, set this up. I'll get this all set up. Then all we gotta do is put the exhaust and some Kruesi Originals floorboards on. We're almost done. I mean, we started at 10, 11, 12, 1, 3.5 hours. A little bit of off and talking on the phone and doing other shit. I bet like 3 hours to pretty much be back and installed. It's probably about a 4-hour job, which that's what it was on a twin cam. 4 hours to do a cam back in the day. Yeah, break time. We'll be back. All right, push rods are spinning. Everything feels good. I got them all adjusted nice and properly. Pop that dude in there, put in a little cover. She's spinning. She's snug, but she's spinning. These things are so much easier to put on than the S&S ones too. Don't have that weird notch, you know? Next, we are going to put on the S&S Stealth intake. It's got the breather set up in it. It's got all the fanciness. Weird little cup. This is a much different style of throttle body than before. I gotta put a gasket behind these two dudes too. Getting this hose on is something I should have done ahead of time. Son of beeswax. Get her?
While Ryan's finishing up the exhaust for this cam job, I'm going to put this floorboard on, this Kruesi Originals floorboard, as you can see. Our mounts raise the floorboard an inch from stock, and there's an option that you could move the floorboard back into more of like a mid-control stance position, or keep them stock in the factory location. We're gonna keep these in the factory location because it feels really good on this bike. But like on Terry's Road Glide, like a 2023, we have them moved back, and it kind of just, for us, you know, height impaired boys, makes the cockpit feel a little more comfortable. So I'm gonna put these on while he finishes that. You can buy these at KruesiOriginals.com. Every $5 you spend enters you to win a custom motorcycle. Head over to the website. And without further ado, we're gonna put these on. So you pretty much just take the stock brackets off of your factory floorboard, bolt them onto ours, bolt them onto the bike, you're done. If you can't figure that out, take it to a professional.
There they are. The fancy Kruesi Originals. These are the F&A floorboards. F&A floorboards they are. They are 1 inch higher, so it brings you in a much better attack position. You got lots of ground clearance over here for ripping corners, which this guy's gonna hit before your foot pegs will now. They are also very, 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 very grippy. Which we got grippies. They're very grippy. It's good for just planting your feet, popping up, doing wheelies. They're also rounded and knurled, and then they're teethed on here for hooking your foot on the other side for guys that are like riding wheelies. You don't got to be riding wheelies to ride these. These are just the shit all the way around. And if you move them back, you can set them up in mid-control position, which is what we've done on most of our builds. But the 24, I feel like I'm already in mid-controls. Just the way the seat sits, like these seats are up a little more, you're a little more on the handlebars, so it feels like you're more. It feels like mids. I feel like if I move this back 2 inches, it would feel not right. So I think this will be just dialed. Looks real nice. We are making some brake pedal covers. Those are coming out really soon. And shift pegs. We've been working on those for 3 or 4 years now. They'll be out any day. We got to pump some oil in this thing. And we can take it outside and start it. It's probably going to not run real great because the tune is not at all for this cam, but it should at least fire up and kind of hear it run not real great. And then we'll be going to Trask to get her back on the dyno to see what kind of numbers she makes. All right, so the fan's on, it's loud, and I want to hear this thing run, but it's like 475 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now, and I'd probably catch on fire. It's like a vampire going out into the sun, and he blazes up in a bunch of fire. That's what it's like to just step out in normal Arizona. Everybody's a vampire here as soon as you walk outside. So we're gonna fire this up in here. We'll know if the tune's good enough, because I mean, if there's 3 of us in here or so, I say if 1 out of the 3 passes out, we're probably pretty close to being safe for a new tune like that. Let's fire it up. We got a special guest too. He's hiding back there shy. Come on in. Everybody's been wondering where Matt's been.
Come here, Matt. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
He's been professionally swimming in the Sahara. Been a real good experience from
That's why I
what
have
I
a
said.
beautiful
That's why he's
tan.
tan. Yeah. It's real good to have him back. He smells weird, but I mean.
God damn it.
I don't think she's gonna run good, but the lifter's got to pump up. I didn't prime it. Thing's gonna have to run for a while to build any oil pressure. Valves are loud. I need to take it outside and let it really run so it builds up some oil pressure in the lifters. Probably have to readjust the push rods again too. Sounds a little noisy. So far, I'm not happy with it. It sound like a lifter or something else over there? Give it a little bit. Hey everybody, Ryan Kruesi from Kruesi Originals. Today we're working on not this at all. We're going to go to Trask Performance and we are going to tune the Street Glide. We just put that Andrews 485 cam in it. It was a quick cam job, bolted it in. We pushed a map into it and it's running good enough where I got to go on a ride the other day and tore it up a little bit and tore the fender up pretty good. But it's not running very good. She's kind of shitting the bed at idle and cutting out a little bit. So we're gonna take it to Trask, we're gonna tune it, we're gonna see what kind of power this thing can make with just a cam, a pipe, and an intake. I guess that would be a stage one. I hate to call it that. I would say it has a pipe, an intake, and a cam. And see what she does. I'm thinking 120s. Trent's guessing low 130s. I think foot-pounds, maybe make 130, 140 foot-pounds. We'll see. The thing rips right now. It absolutely rips. But here we go. Next stop, Trask. We're back at Trask. We've got Landon with us right here. He's gonna throw it back in the dyno. We're gonna see what this thing can make with an Andrews 485 cam, a stealth pipe, and an S&S intake. All kind of the first shit for the 2024. First people to come out with shit for it so far. I had to redo this head pipe at the shop to get it to work on the 24.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was great.
Good stuff.
Just O2 bungs had to be moved because they're tall trans cover and it sets different in the frame too up there. So had to make some adjustments. That'll all be fixed down the road, but here we go. Let's get to it.
Let's get in there. Ready to sweat?
Yeah.
Some more?
Well, with stock with the Thunder Max, it made 100 horsepower and 122 foot-pounds. Put a pretty good sized cam. Andrew 485 cam is about as big as you can go bolt end wise. It should rip pretty good. I kind of figured 120 and 130. Trent was shooting for 130, 140. I think that seems pretty big.
That's what my lowrider S makes, but I got a 550 cam in it.
Yeah, that's what our 124 makes with a 550 cam and a lot of compression.
Yeah.
Still running off the tune that was in it? That's not bad.
No, not at all.
It made 125 horsepower, 128 foot-pounds on just the map that we pushed into it.
Yeah.
You haven't even touched it yet, right?
No. Yeah, and you can see you got a big lean, about $4 grand. It's got a big lean spike, almost 16 to 1. So yeah, we'll gain a lot for that mid-range once we get that cleaned up.
So what would be the first thing after? So you just ran the first run off of what was in there already. You haven't done shit.
Yep.
What would be your first thing that you would go after?
Next steps is, I had a graph going while we were making the passes. Look over the data, figure out where it's rich, lean, what it needs, and then start playing with it in the Thunder Max and start getting to inch it down until we get right where it wants to be and where we're making good power.
You got like a set air fuel where you like to run them, or does it go off the motor?
It's kind of standard. Every Harley we do here, wide open, we set it at 13.0, which is a pretty safe, conservative. Could you lean it out a little more? Yeah, but a little bit richer isn't going to hurt you. And when you're wide open, you want the you want to stay cool for one, because if you run them too lean, they're just going to create heat. It's an air-cooled motor.
Yeah.
You could run them richer if you really wanted to, but then you start sacrificing some power. So the 13.0 mark is about kind of the happy medium, 13.0, 13.2, just to make for making power.
Beautiful. So you start with the fuel, then you get an ignition after that?
Okay, yep. Yeah, once you get your fuel dialed in, then you can start playing with your timing, see if it wants more, wants less, and we'll start looking at graphs and seeing where it drops and adds when we start playing with the timing then.
Well, we'll let you keep spinning.
That's pretty damn good
Pretty
for
impressed.
the first rip.
Run 25 with a big dip right there, but
Mm-hmm.
and that's literally, we rode around the block for like 8 minutes and then just pushed the learn map into it.
Yeah.
It's working pretty well so
Yeah.
far.
That's the beauty of a Thunder Max, is that as long as you can get it 80% there, it'll take you that other 20%.
Well, we got close-ish, I would say. The air fuel at idle was better than I thought it would be, because it was getting kind of hot at idle and kind of shutting off after a while of riding. But other than that, it ran pretty good. I cooked a lot of tire off on Saturday.
I was gonna ask you how many tires you gone through already.
I'm only on the first one. It's holding up pretty well. Drifting, you can make a tire last a long time. When you start doing like straight burnouts,
Yeah. When you're drifting, you're not smoking the tire, you're just sliding
You're
it.
just kind of wearing the sidewall out. And you can't do rollers like front brake stuff. This front tire is not it. It's way too slick for that shit.
It shoves it.
Yeah, you gotta have a Shinko 777 or something real sticky.
Are you a Shinko guy?
Only in the front.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I won't run them on the back. No, it's too wobbly. Too sticky for stunt riding too. You want slick, dry rotted burner piece of shit on the back, and you want sticky as hell up front.
Something you can control in the front.
Yep. Front grip is crucial. Rear grip doesn't
Yeah.
matter. If you can clutch up a wheelie, you can clutch up any tire. The stock tires on this is a really good drift tire, actually. All around.
The
stunt
Dunlop
riding
or
tire.
whatever.
Is
They
it a
still-
Dunlop
they still have
Scorcher? I
Dunlop
think
on?
it's a Michelin. Went down that time a little bit.
It's the same.
Said we're gonna get it cooled down, start making some power runs. I feel like it's already making power.
Make some horsepower.
Yeah. That cam kind of comes on late, it seems like, torque-wise and everything.
Yeah, torque. When torque gets above like 3,500,
Yeah.
it starts being that's a pretty late cam.
Yeah.
Usually 3 grand, 3,200 is where they start peaking.
I kind of prefer it this way. Just
Yeah.
get a little smoother, like riding wheelies. And
Yeah.
I got enough. There's plenty enough power to fucking burn the tire off.
And it ain't like, I mean, come on, it's making 120 foot-pounds at 3 grand.
Yeah,
Like it's still,
pretty goddamn good. This bike feels really light too. Just without
they're like
the
100
power.
pounds lighter than the previous generation,
I
aren't they?
believe so. It feels like it. Just picking it off the kickstand, it feels like you're picking a Dyno.
Yeah. We'll get a good big power number and then I'll bring it down just a notch.
I'm all for that. Yeah, keep it from pinging and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, last thing you want it to get hot and start knocking and
This motor's also coming back out. This motor's going tomorrow.
hit it.
Yeah, we got a 135 at the shop. So then just make the power. I'll beat on it a little bit, and then we're gonna do it over again with a 135.
Those 135s make power. I'm tempted to let it get cold again,
Yeah.
like 180, 190, and do another run and see if we can get that extra fucking 0.2, just so it's a round number.
A solid 130 out of a cam is
And 137 foot-pounds of torque.
fucking wild. That's a stock motor essentially with a bolt-in cam.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
yeah. It's crazy.
You'd have to boost the shit out of a twin cam to make that kind of power.
A 110 twin cam would make pretty close to that
But it's
turbo.
good. Yeah.
It would make a little more, but that's a 110.
Yeah.
That's only 7 cubic inches less than this and a turbo.
And it's fucking naturally
And this is
aspirated.
naturally aspirated for the
Stock
cam.
and-
All in a day's work.
130 horsepower, 137 foot-pounds. Andrews 485 cam. That is impressive. That is super impressive. And that is your stock bagger that you can get from Harley Davidson right off the showroom floor. Put a bolt-in cam, exhaust the intake, and make some stupid power. That's a turbocharged twin cam making a lot of power right there. I need to go see what she does on the street now.
She'll shred the tire.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's a considerable amount more than we walked in here too. It made 125. It's got 5 more horsepower, but like 12 foot-pounds of torque almost, 11.
Here, I'll lay over what we did stock.
15 foot-pounds, that is a lot.
30 horsepower, almost to the number.
God damn.
Here, you wanted to go even farther. Here's our baseline.
So baseline, 91 horsepower, 116 foot-pounds. Now we're at 130 and 137. That's a lot. That's gonna be a lot to hold on to. I'm a little scared, to be honest, but.
Oh, come on.
Nah, we'll be fine. It was so greasy before, it would just melt the tire down immediately. Now it's gonna be a lot. Good work, good work. It's just all about bop.
I was shooting for that 130 number.
I don't know if I would necessarily give all the props to the cam or some of it to the fact that it's water cooled and it's just gonna run better.
They all make about the same power.
They don't make any difference?
No, I mean, if you keep them cool, they'll make
Yeah.
about the same power. You know, and I never let them get over like 260, 280 in the dyno.
So out in
So
the streets of Phoenix, this isn't water cooled. It's going to be losing some power out there, beating around as it gets
Correct,
hotter
yeah.
and hotter. The
Yeah.
hot air. This thing kind of
it'll start heat soaking. Like, yeah, this thing. I mean, we saw it on the temp logs. It gets to 250 and it sits there.
Yeah.
You know.
The radiator's nice. Like just riding the lot, it was 106 or some shit on Saturday, and the bike I got hot. The bike didn't get hot. When I was working here many years ago, 103 was the biggest thing you could get, and we were boosting those. They'd make like $120, something like that, and that
Yeah.
was unbelievable.
They're torquey.
Yeah, they
They'll
just light
make
the
like
tires
140
so
foot-pounds of torque,
Yeah,
but they don't make any horsepower. But
Yes,
these M8s, they freaking make
they
gobs
light-
of torque
they light
and
the
gobs of
tire up
horsepower.
super fast though.
Yeah,
This thing, turboed one of these would be
yeah. That's what I want to print you that.
gnarly. What should we do next? You guys comment down below, because we're just going to keep making power with this thing. That's kind of the goal, and I want to make like a really stupid, overpowered drift car out of a bagger. That's the plan. Probably have to buy a knee brace. Oh man, it's also really hot out here. I'm gonna go again. I don't want to ruin my shoes. I need a little more space to like slide the thing all the way around. Woo! I don't think I got any forearms left. Yeah, this thing eats.
Yeah.
It just eats like I'm on grease. It's a lot of fun. The tune is dialed. It feels smooth. Doing a wheelie is definitely gnarly, but god damn, it just greases the tire up super fast. You want to ride it?
I ain't no stunt guy, but
Oh, take her for a rip. Woo! Oh my god.
shorts and all.
Yeah. Oh my god, that thing eats. I can bog the shit out of it, just ball, and then roll right out of the hole without having to do shit. A lot to hold on to. My forearms are smoked. But god, it slides.
That's pretty violent.
Yeah, it rips really nice. But it pulls through smooth the whole way. It feels real linear. It's not like jerking my head off. If you have a cam in your bike, it's still a stock motor. Until you've gotten the crank and the compression and shit like that, that is impressive. 130. This isn't a slick road out here. This is like a cheese grater. My old shop is right around the corner. Spent a lot of years stunt riding on this shit, and for it to light the tire up like that is impressive. It wore me out. I think on that note, we call it an end of an episode. I'm Ryan Kruesi, this is Kruesi Originals. This is Landon, this is Trask Performance. If you need dyno work, there's not really another option in this world. They're the best. This is where you go. Go check out Blockhead Moto, see what the competition's all about. Peace. What?
What? That's loud.
Ruined my intro, man.
You're ruining my intro, man.
Okay, I'm ready.
That would be very loud and you'd be annoyed by it later.
You're ruining my intro, man.
Let's go.
Jeez.
Ready? Is it
YouTube,
playing?
guys.
Are we?
By all means, make a lot of noise right in the microphone.
Penis, penis, penis. Okay.
Here we are on a special day.